I did a good job at officiating out there today, didn't I?
Killed it.
Yeah, I know. So,
What happened there?
thank you to Coach Gillum for his great job at officiating today. It's hard for us to continue to focus on the discipline things when we can't, do what we need to do sometimes. But this was going to be a mixed day. Like, we wanted to go live in the beginning of the set, and we did. And we got an opportunity for the ones on both sides to go live for about 10, 12, 15 plays. And then we kind of thudded it up, which is what we wanted. Some situation stuff, but more of a true kind of, as close to the game before the 30th that we could possibly do. And there's some risk to that. I mean, I think we maybe got a twisted ankle and a twisted knee, but again, that's all kind of a part of it. We knew that this was probably one of the last days where we could really truly kind of get after it in a way that we would like to before we find out on the 30th what we really got. So. It doesn't mean we're done. It doesn't mean camp is over. I mean, there's a different mode here as we move forward. I think we're in a really good place. I think it's a little bit unique now to say, okay, we got to continue to work. We got to continue to do the things we need to do, but we also need to get ourselves healthy. We need to try to find a way to get our legs and our minds back in this next kind of phase of where we're headed here. But Platteville was a great opportunity, and it was a great 13 days, and I think the last 6 or so here has been exactly what it is that we need, and so we feel good about that. Now we've got to find a way to say, okay, who are these 45 guys, who are these 65 guys that we really feel like we can trust and can go with. And that's what I keep harping to our team about. Like last year, I think by the end of the year, we had 40 or so guys that you felt confident and trustworthy, and it's hard. As you go through a season, you get a guy like CJ Getz last year that has to take so many reps every game that he's a shell of himself by the time the season ends. And that was as big a focus as the start of camp, is to say who are these 1As and 1Bs, and who are the guys we really got to make sure that are going to play a role each and every week. And that's, to me, the only thing I was hard upon at the end here was the consistency of that crew of guys, that next group of guys that all are going to want to play on the 30th. But will there be opportunities for that based on what it is that they've shown us? And so where we are, where we still got to be able to go to, I think has a lot to do with that next kind of group guys that we got to find out in these next 6, 8, 10 days. Where are we with that crew?
Go ahead, Joseph.
When Tyler entered the portal in the offseason, he was obviously coming up on a tough year. Mm-hmm. What did you feel like you needed to learn about him at that time, and what have you learned about him since?
I think that when you come off a tough year, if you're able to take ownership, if you're able to be humble about the things that have happened, then it's a positive, really. I mean, that's one of the things that I was most excited about is, it wasn't guaranteed that he was going to be the starter, and sometimes guys say things and do they really mean them, because you don't know them. I mean, it's a short amount of time that you had an opportunity to get to know him a little bit before he was brought into the program. But in my heart, I felt like, hey, he had gone through some ups and downs. He'd had some really good high moments. He'd had some low moments. I'd seen him kind of respond and come back at the end of the year last year. I felt like those are the best things that you could possibly have if you can be humble about it, if you can own it, take ownership, and find ways to grow. And I really felt like he was that. And since he's been here, he's done nothing but prove that to us.
Have you put an added emphasis on fourth down in this camp? It feels like some of the competitive periods and
yes. Everybody says they want to be aggressive, right? As you get out there on the field, and you always have an opportunity for you guys to second guess that based on what happens. It's just the nature of the beast, right? I'm nothing against you. It's what we all do. I do it myself. I just don't write it in a story. But we all say we want to be aggressive, but then there's a difference, like I keep stressing to our guys, there's a difference between aggressive and stupid. And where is that fine line? So what we got to do, and what we have done, is put ourselves in those situations to see where and how we can execute. And that will help determine, as we get into the body of the season, how aggressive can we be? And there's a lot of other factors that come in there, obviously, with some confidence and how both sides of the ball are playing. But it has been a major emphasis.
Luke, you mentioned trying to get healthy before week 1. Saw Riley try to come back earlier this week and had to miss some more time. Is there any concern with him going forward?
I don't think so. I think he could have gone a little bit today. We decided that probably wasn't the best thing. So, we feel good. But again, that's where these next 10 days are going to be really important for us. So there's a few guys that are like that. I don't think Chady played as much tonight. I don't think Hunter played as much today, and all things that we, wanted to be able to do and to put a lot of other guys in those situations. But you know, that's what we got to figure out these next 10 days, because there's a few guys that are in that situation.
So same thing with like Aaron Witt, Christian Lego, even just like
Yeah. Both are guys that Aaron got dinged up a little bit earlier in camp. Christian, I think it was the last scrimmage we had out of Platteville. They kind of got a little tweak on the hamstring. Would assume he would be fine this coming week. Could have been one we, maybe could have pushed today, but not necessary. Not that he doesn't need the reps. But there's that balance between where's smart and where's trying to push him too much. But that's what these next 8-9 days are going to be critical for us.
As far as having a little more physical camp this year, have you already seen maybe the benefits of that, and if so, where do you think at this point?
How do we see the benefits, right? I'll tell you on the 30th. That's when we really see it, right? I mean, yes, do we believe? Do we feel better? Do I feel better about how we're going to take care of the football? How we're going to tackle? Yes, because of spring football going live, because of fall camp as much as we went live, I feel much better about where we are as far as a team taking care of the football and as a team tackling. But how much does it pay off? Obviously we'll see. But I think we're all in a better place, and there's a lot more confidence, not just from me, but I think in these guys when they actually get to play the game like that.
Is fall camp done, or you guys still have next week?
No, we still have next week. We're not in school, which we got to take advantage of. But now you kind of get to that balance where what's enough and what's too much, right? There's a mental side of these things that we have to make sure we're fresh as well, and that's where this next week we got the great advantage, right? We don't start school till whatever September, whatever 2nd, whatever that is. So we can take advantage of not having our guys in school without routine, where we can spend more time, and that's where not too much, but spend more time where that's even taking care of themselves physically, and that's what we got to do.
Your program obviously made a big jump in year 2 at Cincinnati. I know that it's a while ago, but in general, how important do you think it is to show now that you've got a transition year of sorts out of the way that you're making?
We're always trying to show progress. I mean, every one of us. I mean, these guys, they hear it every single day. They're evaluated every day. We're evaluated every day. Progress is something that is continual. I don't care if you win 11, 12 games. You're still going to want progress. And does progress always mean more wins? It's easy for everybody else to say, but there's a lot of progress that has to continue. The buzzword is culture, right? The culture is kind of evolved every single year. So there's a process to that as well. So what's to say, is it going to be the similar, or do you have jumps like that? We all know that this is a part of the process and part of, let's say, transition, but the perpetual development, and that's what we got to make sure we continue to focus on, that process, that development that, like I told this morning, sometimes takes a little longer than you wish. Right? We all want it now, and just think just because we work really hard and we dedicate ourselves, well, that everything else is supposed to pay off. It doesn't quite work like that.
Luke, Amari shared this morning, or maybe it was yesterday, that he lost his mom, and he said that you and Coach Haynes were really supportive through that. How do you try to help a young man through that?
I don't have any, nothing to fall back on, and to say I've been through it, so it's difficult. But I think when you have a relationship with those guys, when it starts in recruiting and it's continuous, it's not like there's some magic words you can say. But that's why I think it's so critical for, that's hard on anybody. A guy could be in the NFL, but 18 to 22, the first time you're away from home, that's one of the things I worry about with where the evolution of college ball could be going into more of a transactional world, that things like this on an 18, 19-year-old, can get lost, right? I mean, they could just pass it off to, some expert, when that's good, but I think if they don't have the support from around them and the relationships around them, it's going to be really, really difficult for those guys. And so, fortunate enough to know the family for a long time, and he feels comfortable coming up and talking and being able to hear some of that. So, from both sides, that makes me feel really good, about the relationship we do have as well.
As far as Amari goes, I mean, have you been surprised at how he, from a performance standpoint, just how he's been able to kind of maybe compartmentalize?
Yeah, I try to put myself in the shoes, and I don't know how I would handle, right? And he's been really solid. You could tell there's, when you know a kid, you can see the ups and the downs, and it's not always by performance. It has a lot to do with the body language and facial expressions, and but he has done an unbelievable job. He believes in the guys that are around him, and I think that's where he's kind of grasped his solitude. You know, his family and dad and them are away. But he's had a family that he's created here that I think he feels really comfortable with. And, you know, I give him a lot of credit that this is important to him as well as his family. But he's been able to kind of use this as a balance and use this family in a different way.
I know it's a little difficult, but where do you think the defense, especially run defense, has grown from last year?
We'll see. I mean, I tell you what, we've seen about every single thing you could possibly see run-wise from our offense, and I think that's been a great challenge and a great test to us. And so I think that they are well tested in a lot of different things. Now, each and every week, you know, things are focused a little bit different. We have got to be able to show the physicality, you know, and our ability to sustain physicality throughout an entire, you know, not just game but season. That's the thing to me. I feel really good about what we've seen. I feel really good that they understand, you know, the different things that they can see, you know, because our offense has given us so much. Now, do we have the physicality as the season continues to go and as you get to that red zone to be a dominant run defense? Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.